Let us know the fifth point of the social and political background of Victorian era. So the Victorian British Empire. The Victorian British Empire dominated the globe, though its forms of rule and influence were uneven and diverse. The traffic of people and goods between Britain and its colonies was constant, complex, and multi directional. Britain shaped the empire shaped the Britain, and colonies shaped one another. British jobs abroad included civil and military service, missionary work, and infrastructure development. People from various imperial locations traveled to, studied in, and settled in Britain. Money too flowed both ways. The empire was a source of profit, and emigrants sent money home to Britain, as did goods such as jute, calico, cotton cloth, and tea. Dramatic expansion of the empire meant that such goods came to Britain from all over the world between 1820 and 1870. The empire grew, shifted its orientation eastward, and increased the number of non white people over whom it exerted control. Much of this expansion involved violence, including the Indian Mutiny 1857 to 59, the Morant Bay Rebellion 1865 in Jamaica, the Opium Wars 1839 42, 1856 to 60 in China, and the Taranaki War 1860 to 61 in New Zealand. India became central to imperial status and wealth. There was significant migration to the settler colonies of Australia and New Zealand, and later to Canada and South Africa. From 1870 until 1914, continued aggressive expansion technologies including railways and telegraphy. Britain took control of large parts of Africa, including Egypt, Sudan, and Kenya, which together were home to about 30% of the African population. The same period also saw the start of anti colonial movements that demanded freedom from British domination in India and elsewhere. These would ultimately lead to decolonization after World War II. So, sixth point, the Victorian British economy. Britain's status as a world political power was bolstered by a strong economy which grew rapidly between. Growth was followed by an economic depression, and from 1896 until 1914 by a modest recovery. With the earliest phases of industrialization over by about 1840, the British economy expanded. Britain became the richest country in the world, but many people worked long hours in harsh conditions. Yet, overall, standards of living were rising. While the 1840s were a bad time for workers and the poor, they were dubbed the Hungry Forties. Overall, the trend was toward a less precarious life. Most families not only had a home and enough to eat but also had something left over for alcohol, tobacco, and even vacations to the countryside or the seaside. Of course, some decades were times of plenty, others of want. Relative shoppers, with the rise of the department store from mid-century, transforming the shopping experience, increased wealth including higher real wages from the 1870s meant that even working class people could purchase discretionary items. Mass production meant that clothes, souvenirs, newspapers, and more were affordable to almost everyone. So, Victorian culture and art. Last but the least point. So, let us discuss about the Victorian culture and art in the period of the Victorian era. So, more access made British cultural products more important. Not only did they reveal much about the society from which they emerged, but during the capital of the English speaking world, including the United States, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, Victorian performance and the print culture were rich and varied, a blend of melodrama, spectacle, and morality. Theatre thrived. Melodrama, which featured even villains, virtuous heroines, and intricate plots, was the most important and most popular genre early on. Later, sensation drama became popular. Even more popular were music halls, which featured varied programs of singing, dancing, sketches, and more. These emerged in the year 1850s. By the 1870s, there were hundreds across Britain, some seating thousands of people. Music halls attracted people of all classes. Print culture was also large and diverse, aided by relatively high literacy rates. There were hundreds of magazines and newspapers available at ever cheaper prices. The 1880s saw the emergence of the new journalism, which drew readers with pieces on violent crimes and scandals in high society. Novels were another key feature of Victorian print culture. By mid century, Britons of all classes could afford and read novels. Some were aimed at highly educated and well off people, others at less educated readers looking for appealing and exciting stories. Penny dreadfuls and sensation novels, seen at their best, work of Wilkie Collins, thrilled their readers. Victorian novels were often quite long, with complicated plots, often centered on marriages and many characters. Many, especially those by Charles Dickens, are still read today. Thank you.